Happy Friday! And it is the first day of May. I really cannot believe it. I hope that you guys are having a good day. Today we're going to talk about the three appeals. I feel like this is something we know pretty well. So I'm going to keep it as short as I can, and then you'll have an assignment due today. And this is the assignment that I'm going to be grading for the week. So you want to make sure that you get that turned in. Okay, so just to review, in a nutshell, the ethos, pathos, and logos. If you're using the three appeals, it means you are effectively using language to connect to and convince your audience of whatever your claim is, of whatever it is you want to get them to think, to believe, or just even to just listen to. So ethos is the appeal to credibility, or like showing that you have shared values with people that you're speaking to or writing to. Pathos is the appeal to emotion. So how are you feeling that emotional connection with the people sitting in front of you? And logos is appeals to logic or to reasoning. So we're just going to look at a quick example. This is actually a exam. I think it was 2017 maybe. So this is just like the beginning of that rhetorical analysis passage in 2017. And I just took the first like 30 lines there, and I'm going to show you how this person, Claire Booth Luce, uses all of the three appeals. So she was speaking to journalists at the National Women's Press Club. I believe we've done this one in class, and that's totally okay because it's always good to revisit text. I honestly, the one thing I wish I had for my classroom was your essays, but I cannot go get them. So I wish that I could go back and get all those old essays so that we could review them, because it's always good to revisit texts that you've seen and reevaluate. But Corona. So here we are doing what we can with what we have, and everybody's going to be okay. I honestly, the more I see the stuff that AP puts out, the better I feel about it. So I think that we're going to be in a good place. So anyway, she went on to criticize the tendency of the American press to sacrifice journalistic integrity in favor of the perceived public demand for sensational stories. Read the passage carefully, and then in a well-developed essay, analyze how Luce uses this information to prepare the audience for her message. Support your analysis of her rhetoric with specific references to the text. So I hit ethos, pathos, and logos hard. Whenever you guys are doing this, you want to be walking yourself through those. There's a beginning, there was a shift, here's the middle, there's another shift, there was an end. So just know today I only was looking at ethos, pathos, and logos, but in general, you're going to be kind of evaluating things differently, but just for the purpose of our assignment today, I wanted to focus on these. Okay, so I'm going to read this and then I'll get into my notes. I am happy and flattered to be a guest of honor on this always exciting and challenging occasion, but looking over this audience tonight, I am less happy than you might think and more challenged than you could know. I stand here in this rostrum invited to throw rocks at you. You have asked me to tell you what's wrong with you, the American press. The subject not only is of great national significance, but also has, one should say, infinite possibilities and infinite perils to the rock thrower. So I'm going to go ahead and stop right there just so we can talk about ethos. And so I feel in this first paragraph, she is definitely setting the stage. She's warming up her audience. She's kind of tongue-in-cheek, which means like she's humorous, but is she also making a point? And that shows her command of language right off the bat. She's also giving a nod to the audience's credibility, which in turn builds her own. So no matter what you think, you are going to be so much more likely to get an audience to listen to you if you in some way are warming them up to you. If you come out guns a-blazing or rude, the audience is going to kind of like back off or become defensive most of the time. And it always depends on your audience too. But she does a really great job here building her credibility, because if they're these high esteemed people, then how did she get there? How is she the one standing in front of them? There must be something credible about her to put her in that position. So because of that, there's a good connection to ethos. I also, that paragraph and into the next one connects to pathos. So since she's building that relationship, they're going to feel more connected to her. And anytime you're getting that emotion of feeling more connected, that's pathos. And like I said earlier, it's more likely to listen to her. Pathos can come in lots of ways. So, tugging at your heartstrings, getting you fired up about something. And in this case, she's kind of like building her relationship with them so that they feel more connected and then therefore more likely to listen to her. So I'm going to continue with the text. For the banquet speaker who criticizes the weaknesses and pretensions or exposes the follies and sins of her listeners, even at their invitation, does not generally evoke an enthusiastic, no less a friendly response. The delicate art of giving an audience hell is always one best left to the Billy Grahams and Bishop Sheens. But you are an audience of journalists. There is no audience anywhere who should be more bored, indeed more revolted, by a speaker who tried to fawn on it, butter it up, exaggerate its virtues, play down its faults, and who would more quickly see through any attempt to do so. I ask you only to remember that I am not a volunteer for this subject tonight. You asked for it. So once again, there's a lot of personality there too. And I wanted to specifically talk about her allusions to Billy Graham and Bishop Sheens. A few things I was thinking about allusions when I was going through this, and I know we talked about allusions earlier. So if you don't know who these people are, you might think, well, I don't know why she's talking to them. However, I think that even if in these passages, if they're alluding to someone you don't know, you just have to use context clues. They're not going to allude to somebody who doesn't fit their purpose. So in this case, I mean, I happen to know who these people are. They're both like preachers who were known for their rhetoric and very enthusiastic delivery of words and had a pretty big following, and they were very popular people. So she's referencing them in order to say, like, you know, usually these people who are really good at this are the ones up here talking to the audience. However, I'm here today. But because she's alluding to these two, you know, people, she obviously knows who they are, that does build her ethos. So it goes back to her credibility, but it also then appeals to her audience's logos. So we are more likely logically to want to listen to her because we understand that she's using an allusion to better her point. So that's a connection to like our reasoning. Oh, well, I'm going to listen to this woman who is speaking, who can also tell me about other people who are really good at what she's doing right now. So you'll also see that they all really fit together, and that's huge. You don't ever want to be seeing ethos, pathos, and logos not necessarily fitting together. And I mean, back in the day, your freshman year, I know you definitely look at it in more chunks and more isolated than they are here. So sometimes it might feel like one of them is doing its ethos and pathos, and that can totally be the case. So anyway, this is a great passage. If you want to, like I said, it's the 2017 one, if you want to go look at the whole thing. But I just wanted to show you in order to give you an example of kind of what you'll be doing. And I felt like this was something we've done a lot of, so you didn't need a ton of practice with it. The one thing I did want to add was like tone is huge. So you always want to make sure that your tone, that you're evaluating the tone correctly, but then also that in your essay or whatever it is you're writing, that you've also conveyed an appropriate tone. And I think ethos, pathos, and logos are huge in helping you create whatever your attitude is that you want to convey. So in this case, she is kind of, like I said, tongue-in-cheek, slightly humorous. She's witty, and those are her tone. And I think that it's very appropriate to have a witty tone as you are speaking to a group of journalists who understand that the importance of how to use language and how to make it effective. So just always consider tone in combination with all of these things. Okay, so just jumping to your homework. So this is your graded assignment for the week also. So in Google Classroom, you're going to find an assignment called 3 Appeals Value, and you are just going to fill out this chart. It's over a Patrick Henry speech. I think it also may be one that you've seen before. Honestly, sometimes the years run together, so I can't quite remember, and I don't have those essays in front of me. But you want to, You want to take a look at that piece and pretty much do exactly what we did. It's easy once you pull it up. There's a chart and then there's the text, and you're going to find and evaluate some of these examples. So just like we have talked about this week though, with like evidence and commentary, so you're going to find the evidence, which is one of these appeals or the actual quote from the text, and then you're going to talk about like why is that significant, or how does it connect to the rhetorical situation. So remember, that is very important. So get as much as you can out of it. Don't just be slapping down, oh, it makes her, it shows that she is credible. Okay, why is he credible? What is happening to show that we should listen to him? Because if you're not drawing it out, you're not going to have as much to write about. Alrighty, the other thing I wanted to mention, and I've been getting a lot of questions about how these exams are going to be sent to you. So they're coming through your email, and I'm hearing lots of different things. So I think it's something you just need to explore yourself. If you are signed up to take the exam, you need to make sure you're getting the College Board emails, because that's how they're going to send you this on the day of the exam. So I have in this green box over here there's this huge document. I have referred to it so many different times with all kinds of great information on what kind of devices you can use, what you should do, how the test will be rolled out. And then I think it's page 26. It also talks about this practice exam. So on May 4th, if you go to that website right there in the blue, it's in blue text in the white box, you are going to practice different ways to submit your response. If you can't connect for the device with the device you're planning to use on testing day, you will need to try something new because you don't want to say, oh, well, it didn't work on May 4th, but it might work on the actual test day. That's not a good idea. You can also reach out to me. I mean, at this point, I have no control over like the technology aspects, or even like I can see your account and I can see you guys that are taking it, but I can't like change anything about it. So I would pass you on to Mrs. Johnson, the counselor at our school who helps it, and some of our tech experts in the district, and we could try to get things figured out. So I think that's a huge opportunity. And I honestly think I'm thinking that might just be our assignment, one of our assignments next week. If you're not taking the test, you can totally ignore this. And if I do make that an assignment, we'll kind of figure out what that looks like for people who aren't taking the test. So that is a big deal. Check out that document. I think there's lots of good information. So other than that, here's your assignment for today. And I hope that you guys are doing well. And I just think I miss you a little more every day. Part of me was like, am I going to get used to quarantine? And I guess in some ways we have, but I just think that I still miss you guys. So hope everything's going well, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good weekend.